I mean, did we bring anything to our characters?
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so. I feel like you bring, I don't know, this is gonna sound like weird or anything, but I feel like you bring a little piece of yourself to every character that you do. I think that was maybe the case for all of us. Like, when you read it on paper, I mean, for me, when I read the script, I loved it, and I was so drawn to it as a love story, as a coming-of-age story, as just a story about like what it feels like to be young and to be in love and to be going through all the things you go through. And so yeah, I don't know, when I read all the characters, I was so interested to see who was going to be cast and like how it was going to eventuate. And I remember saying to my managers, like, if we're going to do this, we need to do it right. It has to be done right. And I think that Greg Berlanti did such a wonderful job. I mean, it's 2018, and this really is the first time that a major studio has made a movie about a gay protagonist for a mainstream audience. And I feel like there have been representations of like LGBTQ romances and stories told before, like Call Me By Your Name, Carol, but young gay protagonists you don't really see. And I think I said it before to someone, but like there's such an underrepresentation of the LGBTQ community, and I think for people in that and surrounding that, like, because there isn't as much representation, we don't know as much about it, and because we don't know much about it, then it feels weird to be that. And I think that it's so important to have stories and to have representation in the media, whether it's about race, sexuality, gender, equality, because you need to see people who look like you and think like you and act like you, and people who you can relate to.
Plus, it's really nice that we don't over-sexualize these teenagers in this movie, because that happens a lot these days. I mean, I don't need to see someone who's supposed to be in high school in lingerie. That makes me uncomfortable. And I love that we don't play into that at all in this movie. We allow our girls to be attractive and beautiful without trying to make them sexy, because they're kids, they shouldn't be sexy.
And I think, again, that plays into the relatability. Like, if you understand something and can relate to something, then it's gonna speak to you more than something that doesn't. That typical kind of transformation that I grew up watching in films, for me, what bothers me so much is that superficial transformation.
That you can be hot just by taking off your glasses. This idea that to look like a nerd means that you're unappealing. There's always that in the movie. Whenever a girl's getting a makeover, she goes from being authentic to a sex symbol. And I think that really messes with young girls' minds. I know it always messed with mine. I was not born with big breasts and tiny waist, and a lot of the time when you're watching girls getting made over in movies, they're putting them in tiny dresses and push-up bras and clicky heels, and I can barely walk in these shoes, let alone stilettos, and this idea that that's what makes us enticing, or that's what's gonna make the cute guy like us, We don't understand that we're actually putting our young women at a disadvantage by making them fit into this overly sexualized box.
And I think particularly in this day and age, with such a huge presence of social media and so much being learned visually, it's really dangerous, and it's really false as well. And I feel a lot of empathy for kids growing up nowadays, because A, it's really tough, and B, like, it's wrong and it's not real. And I think there are a lot of artists and actors and directors who are very aware of wanting to tell stories that are meaningful and truthful. And I think that's something that's being received super positively, because it's needed and it's real. This idea of images and fake and ideas, it's just, I don't know, it doesn't do justice and it doesn't hit you quite the same.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yes, queen, is that what they say.